holy sister, Gula for Geula, Orit Esther Riter, is inspiring us, or Hashem, with her Emuna, with our Emuna energy. That's her organization where she spreads Emuna to the world every single day. If you're not part of it, join the Or Talk for the inspiration that she spreads, the songs that she sends us, hizbut that she gives us, and she has amazing, wonderful programs. Check out her website, or Emuna, or EmunaEnergy.com, or Emuna.com, or read you tell them.
It's actually we're transitioning over now. It's oramuna.org.
Or Emuna.org. Check it out, everyone. I'll put it in the chat here. And here is Orit Esther Riter.
Karen, you are a definite partner in the Geula. You're amazing every night, running strong. You are Lev Ha'am, Mamash v'Mefurash. Yashar Koach Gadol. You inspire me, inspire so many of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's Bezrat Hashem see what chizuk we can gain together as a nation, as a klal, as our sweet sisterhood, under the auspices of Leva Am and Karen. Let's see what we could try to bring some, what we call in Hebrew, bihirut hadat, some sort of level of clarity and understanding. It's not an easy time. Giving birth is not an easy task. Changing is not easy. Shedding behind parts of self, exiled parts of self, shedding behind all kinds of programs that we've been running off of for a long time, 5,782 years worth of programs that we have been used to running our lives, running our mindsets, running the way we make decisions, to now be literally dismantled in front of our eyes is something that's beyond challenging. One of the things we learn from Rabbi Nachman, he says, all transformation, all growth is beautiful, but there's a moment in the transformation, and we all want to grow. We all want to become, nobody wants to stay in kindergarten all their lives. We all want to elevate. But there's a moment in time in the transformational period, in the transition and elevation period, Rabbi Nachman says, and you're in between the two steps. In other words, you want to climb up to the next step. Just look at it just from a perspective of, when we're climbing steps, right? So you're climbing to the next step. So your first foot is on the step that's about to, you're about to walk onto elevation. And then the other foot is still sort of like just holding on to the step below. But then there's this moment, this split second moment where you're both your feet are almost suspended in midair. It's a shnionit. It's like a thousandth, a millionth of a second, where both your feet are, so to speak, suspended in midair. You're not on the elevated step, and you're not on the step behind. You're sort of like in this unknown zone, in this in-between stage. That's the moment that we're in right now, where you're suspended, and you have no one else to rely on but to Hashem. You literally feel like, wait a minute, I'm not here and I'm not there, so where do I go? And we, as human beings, I say we're control freaks. We need to know, where am I going? Who's holding me up? What's my next step? Where is this leading me to? It's hard for us to be in that place. One of the reasons, by the way, we do like to maintain control is because we know that everything is in control. We know that Hashem is in control. We don't have any doubt. Deep, deep, deep in our kishkas, we all know that Hashem is running the world, and He's running us in the best program possible. But yet we, as human beings, we want to be part of that. We so much yearn that connection with Hashem that we want to know what it feels like, so to speak, to sit in the space of the Creator, so to speak, because that's how all of our yearning is to be with the oneness. What does it mean to be with the oneness? It means I also want to be in control. just like you, Hashem, are in control. I want to be in control too. Just like you, Hashem, know what you're planning. I want to be part of that gig also. I also want to know, sort of let me in on it. I'm your partner, right? And we feel left behind when we're not privy to that information. So we want to feel the presence of Hashem holding us up, and we don't feel that all the time necessarily now, especially in this time. So the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh teaches us that if we can't experience the ultimate oneness, and what is oneness? I've said this various times in the past. How do you know you found God? When you find good. When you find good, you find God. It's a reason why good and God are almost spelled the same, right? The same way. I make a joke, just something I picked up on, like, what's the difference between spelling good and God? What's missing in the God per se versus the word good? There's one letter. There's the letter O. So how do you find and go from, God to good? Well, you have to say God and say, oh, the letter O. Then you found good. And essentially that is what it means to be in the oneness. To be in the oneness means I found more of the good in the circumstances that right now I'm facing that feel tightened, constricted. And in human terms, what is the term we use? It's bad. That's the language. The language that we were taught when we don't see good is it's bad. And the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh teaches us that wherever we don't see good, the automatic definition is called bad. So what is bad in our minds? Where I don't see good. And where I don't see good is where I don't see God. So now that we have a very basic scratching the surface understanding of what it is to live a life feeling that things are bad. Now I want us to understand when I say bad, I can interpret pain as being bad. I can interpret growth as being painful and that being bad, even though I, in my right mind, know that growth is good. We all want to grow. We all want to become. We all want to expand. We're all into that. But yet, this growing process of being in that unknown zone where you're in between the two stairs, that's very scary because you don't see in front of you, you don't see behind you, you don't know who's holding you up, and you're not in control. And yes, for a moment there, you have to literally be willing to let go of everything that you were on before and be willing to just step into this new place called this place of newness. And I don't know what that newness feels. So in the energy training program that I teach, we talk about the change of energy. We talk about what does it mean to change your energy fields. What is energy? Energy is consciousness. Energy is potential. Energy is the vital force of the universe. It's information. It's my directive. It's what brings me to become who I am becoming at every given moment. But one of the things I express when I teach the energy program is that there's an adjustment period. Right? You got to let go of the old, let in the new. What happens in that adjustment period? So I give the analogy and I say, well, metaphorically, it's like going into the store and buying a new pair of shoes. So you're so happy, you try it on, you walk around the store, you look at every mirror and every ankle. You even ask the lady, how does it look on you? Of course, she's going to tell you it looks great. Show me a sales lady that's going to tell you it doesn't look great. If she's going to be selling this. Okay. And you're wearing these shoes and they're like, wow, and they're so comfortable. They're so comfortable. And then comes Shabbos or the Simcha and you put it on and you walk 15 minutes in them and you get blisters. Most of the times you get blisters. So there's an adjustment period. And what does everyone say? Put a Band-Aid, put cotton, wear an extra padding of socks, whatever it is. But this too shall pass. There's an adjustment period. What is this adjustment period? The adjustment period is until my feet get to know the shoe. Hi, shoe meet feet, feet meet shoe. Until there's a relationship going on there, it feels foreign. My foot doesn't like the shoe, and the shoe doesn't like my foot either. But my foot and the toes and the shape of the toes have to fit perfectly into, grow into this expansion of the shoe. Even though it's my size, it takes some fitting, it takes some adjustment. In the meantime, it feels bad until I get used to it. So we're sort of in that period right now where we're trying to get used to this new mode of consciousness, this new way of thinking, this idea that I don't know what's happening. I don't know how this could even assume to be good. And I can't even imagine, Hashem, that you're sitting here and watching all that's being transpired in front of our eyes. You're in the commander's head when he's walking up the stairs to knock on the Chayal's parents' door, and he has to nervously knock on the door to tell the parents on the other side of the door that they just lost their child. You're there, Hashem, you're there. Oh, that's a huge adjustment period. Huge adjustment period, to say the least. And that's what we're contending with. And Hashem, I just had this conversation on Friday, literally with Hashem. I dared, after 54 years of living, to have a conversation with Hashem and to say to him, how are you okay with your daughters getting raped? How are you okay with your soldiers, your children dying? How are you okay with that knocking on the door to tell the parents that they just lost their child? How are you okay? And I felt a little chutzpahdik, but I had to ask the question. And I was just talking this over today in my own therapy session. And I said it felt so freeing for me to just ask and just put it out there. And I didn't expect any answers. And I didn't want any answers. That wasn't the purpose. It was just for me to be able to feel human again. Because even though we all are so holding on to our Emuna deck right now, but the human side of you and I cannot be tucked away. We can't just dismiss it and say, I'm going to go straight from, I can't believe this is happening, to Hashem, you love us. There's something in between that needs to be dealt with. And that is, how can you be okay? So this requires a tremendous amount of hachna and surrendering and adjusting. So in that adjustment period, I'm with the blisters right now on my feet, trying to fit into these new pair of shoes. And there's a reason, by the way, why I use the analogy of the shoe, because this tkufa, this era, this period of time that we're in is called ikveda, the Mashiach. It's called the heels of Mashiach. It really is the heels. We're trying to adjust into these new pair of shoes, these new heels that we're wearing. Why heels? We all say the heels, right? But heels could also mean yo high heels. What is the heel? What does it do? What does it make you feel? Makes you feel taller, right? Makes you feel more beautiful. Makes you feel like you're elevated. You're standing above. You're able to reach higher. Not just heels, the soles of our feet. So this whole idea of us being here and adjusting to this new pair of shoes. And by the way, ikvada also means that it's the bottom part, right, of our body, which we know is associated with David HaMelech, and it's associated with Ol Malchut Shamayim, and accepting upon ourselves the yoke of heaven, and accepting upon ourselves the idea of bringing in the Taken Olam B'Malchut Shaddai, to correct and rectify this world so that the Malchut of Hashem could be revealed in the most compassionate, loving way. But there's a koach in between. There's a koach in between that makes us feel extremely, extremely uncomfortable. And I'm starting this series on the Or Talk podcast that I'm putting out, that I'm speaking about this whole idea of bad and good in the mindset and the Torah, the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, which I put in a little plug, Be'ezrat Hashem, my upcoming book. The first ever book, Be'ezrat Hashem, is coming out, Turn Around Your Life, with the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, based on the weekly Parsha. The first ever book written in English with weekly meditations and stories to really bring out the Torah, the Baal Shem Tov. It's a work in progress. I've been learning it for 10 years, but working on it for 5 years, and I'm honored to say that, God willing, it will be in stores. Please God, Mashiach, by then we'll learn it in the Bet HaMikdash. If anybody wants to still be part of the book dedication process and to help contribute to the costs of publishing this very important book, please be in touch with me. I do believe that it is, God willing, fulfilling one of the 5 conditions of what the Baal Shem Tov said, Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh said, that the well springs of his Torah has to be spread to 4 corners of the universe as part of the condition for Mashiach to come. Be'ezrat Hashem, this will be part of that fulfillment. A lot of people are talking about the Torah, the Baal Shem Tov. We're seeing Hasidut spread to all corners right now. Thank you, Hashem. So there's this koach, there's this energy that's mafliya. So I was talking about the Or Talk, so these are the subjects and the topics we need to be discussing. This whole idea of the bad, is it good, is it bad, or what is it? Right? What is it? We're trying to box things, like I said, we're trying to understand and wrap our pea-sized brain head around all that's going on. And by the way, we won't be able to, but we're going to certainly try. This koach hamafriya, this energy that's stopping us from being able to letaken olam b'malchut shaddai, to correct this world, so the malchut of Hashem can be revealed. What is this koach hamafriya? This koach hamafriya is called paro. That's why we're supposed to v'zacharta, right? Tizkor ma ira lecha b'Mitzrayim. We're supposed to remember Yetziat Mitzrayim, zecher Yetziat Mitzrayim, all the time. Remember Mitzrayim. Why? Because Paro is the tyrant, this energy that disturbs and disrupts us from coming into the promised land. If you look at the word paro, it has within it mafliya. It's disruptive. It shares the same shoresh, pei resh ayin. Pei resh ayin, po, pei ra. Here it's bad. Paro tells us, wherever you are right now, it is bad. That means to me and you that anytime you and I say the words, this is bad, guess what? We're in the levush, we're, so to speak, wearing the garment of Paro. We are in Mitzrayim, we are enslaved, and we can't see our way to the promised land. We're stuck. So this koach hamafriya, this energy that wants to disrupt us, sheporea, the word porea, it when you want to find something, right? So you have to pull things apart to sort of dig deep further inside to try to see what is it here. So Paro stands in our way, and we're soon entering the Parshiot, the Shmot, whole idea of Shuvavim, to get out of this place, to get out of this Mitzrayim. And we're seeing the alignment of all the weekly Parshiot coming and aligning with our reality this week. Parshat Vayechi, and the whole idea of Yaakov Avinu giving the blessings, and Ephraim has to come before Menashe. I just finished reading and studying in my Chavruta the whole idea that Ephraim, according to Kedushas Levi, is the Tov. And the Menashe is the koach hara, is the bad. And that's why Yaakov Avinu had to switch his hands in order to make sure that we focus on the intention of everything that Hashem does. The intention of everything that Hashem does in this world is kindness, is benevolence, is sweetness. It's just that we don't see it because there's a koach hamafliya. When we don't see the good, our natural default is to assume it's bad. But time is running out. I can't go into it too deeply, but I just want to express one thing, that everything that we're interacting with right now, remember that there's something that needs to be removed in order for us to really be able to see whatever it is that we're looking at in the most pure, truthful way. Remember that Paro is always standing in the way. There's always going to be a mafliya, a disturbance, and a blockage that's going to stop us from having an interaction with Hashem. And by the way, that is by design. No need to shoot the messenger. He's just doing his job based on what Hashem has appointed in this world. I always say that more important, watch this, ladies, more important, this is the words of the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, Zchuto Yagen Aleinu, more important than Hashem revealing his loving kindness to us in this world. More important. Can you imagine? There's something more important to Hashem than him coming out of the woodworks and saying, here I am. Here I am, everyone. I'm right here. I love you. Don't worry. I haven't left you for a moment. More important than Hashem to show up and show his benevolent, kind, compassionate, eternal, loving, fatherly face to us. He wants us to have and maintain in this world free will. Free will is more important to Hashem than him revealing how loving, kind he really is and how everything that he does, all of the intentions, all that he does is all for the purpose of showing and expressing his love, his eternal, unconditional love for us. But more important than him showing it, imagine how much he yearns to show it, but more important is for us to have free will, to choose, to make a choice, to have a relationship with him, to tear open the barriers, to push away the paros in our lives, to dismiss the what I see is what I get attitude and program that we're so used to functioning out of. More important, Hashem wants us to fight for our relationship with him. And that's where we are right now. And that's why we're told by Habakkuk Navi, happens to be, I live on that street in Ramat Bet Shemesh Gimel. How Hashem made it that I actually live on Habakkuk Navi. I've been quoting Habakkuk Navi, Tzadik be'emunato yicheh, for over a decade. And Hashem has me move onto the street Habakkuk Navi. Anybody, is visiting in Ramat Bet Shemesh Gimel, and send me a ding dong. I'm happy to have you come over. That Habakkuk Navi says, Tzadik be'emunato yicheh. At the end of days, all we need to have is Emuna. Meaning, I have to choose to remain loyal, Emuna from Ne'emanut. Hashem is giving me the free will to make a choice. And the choice is, I choose you, Hashem. I choose to see you. I'm pushing aside the paro. I'm pushing aside what's mafliya, what's standing in my way. I'm pushing aside porah. I'm pushing it aside. And inside, through paro, you had to go through Mitzrayim to get to Yisrael Abduya, Bezrat Hashem B'Karov. So there's no way around it. You have to go through Mitzrayim. We have to go Mitzrayim, Mitzal, from the narrowness of Mitzrayim There's no other way to go through to the expansion of receiving all the abundance and bountiful goodness of Hashem than to go through Mitzrayim. But in order to get there, we have to push aside those moments where we say, po, ra. And we have to dismiss them. And the only way to do it is by remaining loyal to the ultimate intention and promise that Hashem made to the entire universe when he thought about creation and thought about us in creation from the beginning of time. From way before 5,784 years ago. Hashem thought about us for eternity, whatever that means. He's thought about us, he's dreamed of us way beyond 5,784 years. And so all we have to do, which is a heavy task, we need 120 years to do it, is to stay loyal to the idea that Hashem loves you and me. And no matter what we see in front of us, I choose you, Hashem. If I choose to see reality as po ra, then I chose the other side. I chose paro. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we should keep our eye and anticipate. And that's one of the reasons, I'll end with this, that one of the first questions we are asked after 120 is Tzipita leYeshua, because it's so important to Hashem that you and I not just hope, not just wish, not just dream, and not just yearn, but that we anticipate with such certainty that the Geula is here, that it's unfolding. There's just a koach hamafuya. There's some sort of koach that's mafuya. There's an energy that's disturbing us. And we have to, Be'ezrat Hashem, keep our eye and know that Yeshua is coming. It is already here. We have to do our job. Yes. We have to take upon ourselves Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim. See only Hashem. And it's not easy. There are days it's very, very hard for me to pick up my sitter. I'm not going to lie. Very hard. Tiring, hard. Feels almost in a way even more challenging now than it was before. And that's the koach hamafuya. And some days you win, and some days you don't. But we have to keep fighting. We have to stay loyal. And if I gave up on myself one day, I'm not going to give up on myself the next day. And I'll try again the next day. Right? And Be'ezrat Hashem, together, we're going to rely on one another too. We're a group here. We're a group always. And if we feel like we're not able to hold on, then we need to call up a friend, call up our mentor, call up a rabbi or rebbitzin. We need to get chizuk. And yes, even us, mentors, rebbitzins, whatever you want to call us out there, guess what? We also need our Emuna plugged back in. I'll call my Rav and I'll be like, Kvod Harav, my Emuna wire needs to be put into the socket again, right? I'm not embarrassed. I'm not, we're all human beings. Life happens, I say, and it wears and tears at us. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we stay in Achdut. We go from Chayil to Chayil. We anticipate the Yeshua. And Be'ezrat Hashem, mamash, bekarov. The Geula is happening. All we have to ask for is berachamim. Gluim, revealed, compassionate, rachamim Hashem, may it be your will that the Geula should come. It's coming, for sure it's coming. The baby doesn't ask, should I come out? Should I not? You ready for me? You're not ready? Is it comfortable? Maybe I should push off coming out of your womb tomorrow when you finish doing the laundry. Baby ain't asking. Okay? Nobody's asking us. Geula is coming. All we need to do is beg that it comes barachamim gluim. Be'ezrat Hashem, amen. Ken Yiratzon. Karen, you're up.
Thank you so much, Orit. Amazing.